Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we'll be taking a look at Corsair's 220T, the airflow case. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so in today's video we'll be taking a look at Corsair's 220T. This is the airflow case. Well, at least it's designated an airflow case. We do have a semi-mesh front panel, and we've got all the usual lovely Corsair stuff like the ICUE system, so we've got some RGB fans, all that kind of stuff. Looking at the packaging, yeah, pretty standard affair, and on the side it goes into some details about the specifications, which we'll give you a close-up of now. And on the back we've got a blown up section which shows you all the individual components, so feel free to check that out if you want to. But we want to see what the case is actually like, so let's take a look at it. So here we have it. This is the Corsair ICUE 220T case. Now there is a few versions of this available. This is the white one, as you can clearly see. It's also available in a black version, and also there's a version available which has got a glass front panel as opposed to the mesh one. So depending which your preference is and what you're looking for in a case, then obviously you can make those decisions. Now these do start from around about the £80 mark here in the UK. I will put some affiliated links in the video description so you can check those out for yourself. And the price is slightly dearer for the tempered glass version, and also there's some differences between the black and the white versions. So yeah, take your pick. So let's take a look around the case and check out some of the specifications. So first of all, the obvious thing is this front panel. So you've got this really nice metal mesh front panel, which isn't really mesh as such, it's more of cutouts, and is for some people a slightly odd decision. There are some sections in it which aren't kind of uniformly cut out, such as it's got a section here, here, and all around here, around the Corsair logo. Now I guess to some extent that is so they could actually put the logo on the front. Personally, I would have probably liked to have seen no logo on the front and have this more uniform, possibly from top to bottom. This shouldn't really affect airflow too much though, even though there is some sections which aren't completely cut out, because we do have on the sides some really large cutouts, and that is on both sides to allow fresh air in. Moving around to the side of the case, as you can see, we've got a tempered glass side panel, and this version, on the white version, is completely clear, totally transparent, so obviously you will have to take some attention with your cable management and also the layout of your build. Everything is completely visible. One of the first things you'll notice about this case is the actual depth of it. It is a very small chassis. This is pretty much what I would call a mini ATX case. It will fit an ATX motherboard, full-size board. It won't fit extended ATX for obvious reasons because it is quite squat. But I personally like this design with the slightly more squat design, cutting out the area in the front section where you traditionally have things like your CD-ROM drives or extra storage for optical drives, SSDs, hard drives, and all that kind of stuff. Obviously also it is going to kind of limit what you can put in front, so if you're looking at a full open loop cooling system with a reservoir, etc., you are going to have extreme difficulties trying to fit all that in. But really, that is not what this case is meant for. So let's move back round to the front and we'll take a closer look at the airflow section on the front. So we've got this removable metal panel which comes off really easily, and it's got a really nice design with these little pins which fit into the receptacles there, which is a really nice design. Nice and easy to remove, so if you do need to clean it, you've got really good access. And also it gives you access to the full mesh front panel filter. Now this is a nylon mesh. There is a nice feature on this which some people may appreciate, and also there's some bits which some people may not like. The fact that there's no support braces across any of this actually makes it really nice and gives you a nice uniform look across the RGBs, although with the front panel in place that is kind of obscured a little. Another downside of having no brackets or any kind of bracing on this is the fact that this mesh will have a tendency to move around a little bit and possibly will get sucked in towards the fan blades a little bit. But I'm glad to say these are recessed a little bit, so there is going to be a little bit of a gap, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. But those of you that have had this case a little bit longer may have other opinions, and please do let us know in the comment section if you're finding the mesh is a little bit too loose and is obstructing some of the fans. The filter section actually is nice and easy to remove, as we've seen, and you've got two location lugs at the bottom which fit into the panel, and then the rest of it is magnetic and it fits in nice and easily. Again, really nice and easy to keep it nice and clean. Literally take the front off, take a vacuum to the front, and you can clear off all the debris. Now for those of you that want a little bit more airflow than what the case has as standard, obviously you can, if you want to, remove this front fine mesh filter and just put on the metal front panel without the mesh. If you're in an area which doesn't have a great deal of dust or debris, this is going to be slightly more beneficial for airflow. Although Steve from Gamers Nexus has done some fantastic testing on this case and has actually found that this mesh on the front actually only reduces temperatures by 1 degree. So for those of you that would prefer filtration over airflow, then maybe worth leaving that in. The fans on the front, you've got 3 fans included in the kit. So these are the Corsair SP100 RGB fans and are controlled from the included ICUE controller, which we'll take a look at a little bit later. If you wanted to, obviously you can take these out and replace them. You can get 2 140s in there, should you wish to. But to be honest with you, most people I think are going to be buying this case with the mindset of they like the look, they like the way this is set up, and will probably leave it as is. So let's move back round to the side section, and the tempered glass panel comes off relatively easily. You've got 4 thumb screws, which are actually really nicely machined screws. One thing I do dislike about this design is the fact there isn't actually a ledge on the bottom of the glass panel to hold it in place. It's purely held in place by these rubber grommets in the 4 corners. So yeah, do be a little bit careful when you're removing the glass panel, otherwise it may have a tendency to fall off. The glass panel itself, as you can see, is completely clear and it doesn't have any bordering on it at all. I would have liked to have seen some kind of metal surround around it. This is going to aid with things like fingerprints, etc. when you're taking it off. So this is going to get a little bit dirty and you will have to be careful actually when you put it back on to hold it firmly by the side section so you don't get fingerprints all over it. Looking inside the case, you can see we've got a standard ATX layout in here, and there's plenty of room for motherboards and also for routing cables. We've got cable routing areas at the bottom on this power supply shroud. Nice and easy, nice rubber grommet, so for taking through for your graphics card, that's in a really good position. You've also got some ventilation there, so should you wish to mount your power supply face up rather than face down, you can do that. Really, that section there, in my opinion, is designed so that you can get some airflow from this front bottom fan through the bottom section and then back up into the path of your GPU. Although depending what drives you've got installed, that may be a little bit restricted, and also due to the front panel design where you've got that Corsair logo, that air is going to be obstructed a little bit. Going back to the cutout section, so we've got a big cutout here for the HD audio, got one there which could be for your USB 3 or USB 2, and also one there for your front panel I/O. Those are in fantastic places in my opinion. Rarely these days do you get 3 cutouts, generally we tend to get 2 on most modern designs. Moving up slightly, we've got some more cutouts with these nice rubber grommets, so again for pass-throughs for various things. Your main ATX power connector, maybe some RGB sections. Those are really nice to see, although potentially they would have been nicer in a white rubber, but hey. At the very top we've got loads more cutouts. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 cutouts, one of which is for your main I/O section. Then you've got one just above where your CPU header is going to be. Then you've got some at the top where maybe you can run some things through for fans, etc. And in the very corner you've got the one for your supplementary ATX power connector. All of those nice and easy to get to, well cut out and no sharp edges. If you wanted to fit a radiator behind these fans, you could do. There is a mounting section there, or a cutout, so you could do that, although you will have to move your hard drive tray out the way because that at the moment is currently in the furthest forward position, which, depending on your power supply, you may have to do. Obviously, if you're not using any 2.5-inch drives or any 3.5-inch drives in that caddy, you can remove it entirely. One slight concern is the gap between the top of the case and actually where the motherboard standoffs are. So you can get 140 or 120mm fans in this top section, or potentially even a 240 radiator, as long as you keep an eye on your motherboard and your RAM to make sure it doesn't protrude too much. There is a slight offset, but obviously do be careful and check out your motherboard VRM setup before you go ahead and buy a radiator. Now for this particular case, we have actually gone out and bought a radiator, a 240mm one, to fit in here at a later date. We will be doing a build and also further testing in this case, but this particular video is just going to be an unboxing and go through the specifications. On the back section, as you can see, we've got these 7 removable plates, which are for your PCI Express expansion, so for graphics cards, etc., or maybe PCI Express Wi-Fi cards. And if you want to see how to fit one of those, you can check out the video up here. But overall, it's a very nice compact design and should have plenty of room for even the largest of cards. One thing you will have to look out for is the length of your card because of the physical restrictions of the case. And realistically, you're going to be limited to graphics cards of around about 310mm in length. So obviously, again, do bear that in mind. This is a relatively compact chassis. Moving around to the back, we've got our pretty much standard affair. So you can put a 120mm fan in. There isn't one included, so you can add one if you want to for exhaust. There is a little bit of adjustment up and down. Nothing side to side or no larger fans than 120, but again, that's absolutely fine. Standard I/O panel cutout here. Again, you can see your removable PCI Express ports there. And we've got our power supply basement at the bottom. Also included is a filter on the bottom, which is a nice molded plastic one, which is nice and easy to remove, so that should cause very few problems actually when it comes to cleaning. Very easy to reinstall. Could be a little bit of a problem, but again, there's not really much you can do about those unless you have a full length one which maybe pulls out from the front, or maybe the sleds are slightly larger, but certainly will get the job done. Moving around to the top, as you can see, we've got this removable mesh filter, and nice touch actually, the fact that this has got a grey surround on it, so they've coloured the top grey to match, and it's actually a black filter anyway, so yeah, little things like that, attention to detail, actually do put these Corsair cases a slight notch above some of the other ones on the market. As you can see, we've got our mounting section here for fans or radiators, and again there is a slight offset, and you can put in there 120s or 140s as we said, or obviously 120, 240mm radiators. 280 I don't think is going to be possible, I think that is going to be way too close to your motherboard. Front I/O wise, we've got a power switch, a pair of USB 2.0s, a combo headset jack, and also a reset switch. Moving around to the rear, we've got a solid back panel with no bulge, which is nice to see. The back panel itself is relatively stiff, so shouldn't cause too many problems with cable management. And now we can see the internal side. So again, you can see these nice cutouts, which they've actually increased the cutout on the back as well, so making it easier to pass through your connections. Also, you can see the star of the show, which is the ICUE lighting controller. This is the ICUE, or the lighting node core. So this is kind of like the entry level one, but will allow you to add an additional 3 RGB fans into it. This is purely for controlling the fans RGB, not for controlling PWM speeds, that kind of thing. That is done separately. The fans themselves have 2 connectors on, one of which is the ICUE connector, and the other is a standard 3-pin PWM style connector, which I generally prefer. Cabling wise, there is going to be a lot of cabling in this. Obviously, having RGB fans with all these controllers, etc., is going to give you a lot of cabling, but fortunately Corsair have seen fit to add lots of mounting points, so we've got some tie downs, all in nice places around the outside edges, so cable management should be relatively straightforward in here. Also, you can stick some of the cables right up in this front channel to give you a little bit more extra room, and then you can take your main power supply cables up through and again through these pass-throughs, so that's really nice to do. You have got option for mounting 2.5-inch drives on the back, so mechanical or SSDs, and these are on removable thumb screws, which are nice and easy to get to. So you can use those if you want to. You can, if you want, you can take them out entirely and not use them. The choice is entirely up to you. The ICUE core is actually controlled from a USB connector and a SATA connector, so you will need an additional SATA connector, and also on your motherboard you will need a USB header to plug this into to control it. All of the ICUE is controlled through software. There is no way of controlling it manually. Although if you want to, you can just plug in the power supply, connect up the SATA, and it will just go through a default kind of rainbow puke setup. For the front I/O, we've got the usual setup, so we've got the motherboard connectors, the I/O, so reset, power switch, power LED, etc. Also, you've got a HD audio connector, and you've got your USB 3.0 connector. All the rest of this you can see here is purely for the lighting, so again, you've got your 3-pin PWM connections for the fans, you've got your SATA connector for power, and the USB for the controller. If you want to, obviously, if you want to take all those out and you like the look of the case but you don't like RGB, quite easily you can take all out and make your wiring much easier. Although realistically, a lot of the price of this case is actually taken up by the node and also the fans, so probably not such a great idea. Moving down to the bottom, so we've got this basement section. It is, again, relatively squat, so you are going to have to bear in mind how big a power supply you can get in there. And realistically, power supply wise, anything up to about 180 I would say would be about right. Anything more than that, you're going to start getting problems. A more compact power supply is going to give you more cable management options, and I would certainly recommend a modular power supply. Obviously, if you want to, you can, like I said, remove this hard drive section. So this has got the traditional plastic sleds, which you can remove and put your drives into. And this particular sled comes with all your mounting hardware, cable ties, all that kind of stuff. One thing I would have liked to have seen on these would be some rubber dampeners to try and take up some of the vibrations of mechanical drives. But again, as time is going on, mechanical drives are becoming less and less popular. Also, there is a screw there, so there is a little bit of adjustment, so you can move the cage a little bit forward or a little bit backward, and there's 4 mounting screws on the bottom to hold it all in place. Moving around to the bottom, so you can see you've got these 4 rubber feet, and this is raised off the ground by about 10 to 15 millimeters. Not a great deal, but certainly adequate to get air into your power supply. Again, you've got this removable mesh filter, and also there's rubber grommets to actually go underneath your power supply to soak up any vibrations from your power supply. These are the 4 screws to remove if you want to take out that cage entirely, which again, obviously if you want to, you can do. No problems there. Generally overall, I think it's actually a very nice looking case. The only thing which for me is a little bit concerning is actually the build quality. The metal is actually quite a thin, fine metal, and there is a little bit of movement to the individual panels. I did notice when I got this one actually out of the box that the rear I/O section here was a little bit bent, and it has got a little bit of play in it, so it's not the strongest of metal, but it certainly does look really nice. You get the fans included, which is somewhat of a bonus. These are pretty expensive fans on their own, but if you're into the Corsair ICUE setup and you want a smaller case, there really isn't any other options on the market. Something I didn't cover earlier on is you do get an instruction manual, which is obvious. Generally you'll get that in there, but most people are buying a case probably gonna have a pretty good idea of how it works anyway. So as you can see now, we've got the lights connected. Literally all I've got is a power supply and a SATA connection. There's no motherboard in here, as you can see. So this is purely how it will look if you decide not to connect up the ICUE and just go for it as it is. Again, as you can see, the lighting actually does look really nice, and even just straight out of the box, this does look really nice. I do love my unicorn puke, as you can probably tell by the surroundings. The one thing I don't like about this front section is you don't get that uniform look of the RGBs on the front. But again, if you like your RGB to be slightly more muted, I think this is actually a really good option. And of course, if you want to, you can just run it like this without the front panel on, and then you can see your fans in their full glory. But yeah, not really the greatest. But you can get the tempered glass version, which essentially looks the same as this, just with the tempered glass piece in front. So if you do prefer that look, then maybe that's an option. Again, if you want to, you can remove the front section completely and have your fans completely exposed, and maybe just put the front panel back on. Totally your choice. A relatively flexible design. You will going to have to take some consideration about motherboards, power supplies, etc., and also what you're physically fitting out. Obviously, graphics cards could potentially be an issue with the relatively squat nature of the case. But overall, it's mixed feelings. I really do like the look of it. I do like the ICUE lighting setup, and I think for anyone who is into the Corsair ecosystem, this is definitely worth a look. Airflow wise, Steve, like I said, over at Gamers Nexus has done some fantastic tests on it, so if you want to get the full SP on it, how it works and under load, etc., then please do feel free to take a look at Steve's video. I will put a link in the video description so you can check it out directly. We will be doing a build in this at some point, so obviously do make sure you're subscribed and click on the like button, all that kind of stuff, all the usual YouTube stuff, and then you can see how this continues. But for me, yeah, for £80, I think this is a solid case. Definitely ticks a lot of boxes, and personally, I do like the white aesthetic of it. I think it looks really nice, and it's a little bit different from these relatively boring black boxes we seem to be getting most of the time nowadays. So anyway, let me know what you think of this one in the comments section below. In the meantime, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.